really excited to introduce a good friend of ours, Kaylie Rodriguez. Round of applause.
Thanks.
Not only is Kaylie a psychologist, but she's also a coach for the game of soccer. So we're so excited to have her out. This is something new for us. And don't worry if you miss a couple things. Coach Martino is going to record it, and then we're going to send it out by email. Something that I would love to say, especially to the players, is that we spend so much time training our technique and training our bodies to become faster and stronger. But sometimes it's really important to also strengthen our mind. And it's something that I really wish I had the opportunity to kind of listen into when I was your age. So take as much as you can from this. Again, I'm sure if you have any questions after, Kaylie would be more than happy to answer. And we're also going to provide her information should you want to continue chats further, okay? So one more time, give it up for Kaylie, and I'll leave it with you, okay?
Thanks, Graham. Thank you guys for having me. So I'm Kaylie Rodriguez. I'm a psychologist. I work at YYC Psychology. And my hope today is to give you a few tips, a few skills that you can maybe take away to leave here to work on your mental training. So when we think of mental training, as Graham has already talked about, right, we often focus just on our physical ability, our technical skills, our tactical skills, but we often forget about our mind. And our mind is such a huge part of our physical ability. Our mind can really work for us, and it can really work against us. So my hope today is to provide some tools for you so that when you leave here, you have a few tools that you can start practicing some mental skills. If you cannot hear me, just let me know and I'll try and speak louder. If you have questions, please put them out there as well. I will be around for the rest of the camp with my kids in the camp, so I'm happy to answer questions if you do have anything that lingers, both players and parents, okay? Show of hands here from the players, maybe a few parents know. How many of you can do a Maradona and know what a Maradona is? Okay, I won't have anybody demonstrate. But a Maradona is a common skill move, correct? Right? We learn about this skill move. How did you practice learning about the Maradona? Yeah?
Step by step.
Step by step, exactly. So when we start learning a skill move, something new to us, we really break it down, right? We got to figure out where the ball needs to be in proximity to our body. We need to think about how we shift our weight. We need to think about how we move with the ball. We really break it down step by step, exactly. Then as we start to get a little more comfortable with the movement, what happens is we might start to dribble the ball and then execute the Maradona, right? Then we might start to try it out in practice where there's some pressure, right? We have some opposition from our teammates, right? But we might not yet have the courage to try it out in a game, right? There's a whole process, step by step by step. So with mental skills training, it's a process. We want to first start trying these things when we're not feeling all this pressure. If I said, this is what a Maradona looks like, go out into the game, try it, you're going to go, oh my goodness, how am I going to do that, right? So we want to break this stuff down, and it might sound overly simple, but that's a good thing. That means we can all do it, right? We can all learn it, and we can all execute it, and it can be valuable for every one of us, okay? Does that make sense? Okay. So who here feels a little bit nervous before a game? Okay. Lots of hands go up. Okay. Not necessarily every game, but there can be some games. Maybe it's a tournament game, right? Maybe you're playing your hardest opponent. Maybe you're playing a friend, right? We can experience nerves in different ways. This is completely common. Everybody's going to feel nervous in some way, shape, or form, whether it be at school, you have an exam, maybe you got to do a presentation in front of everybody, right? Maybe I feel nervous. That is okay, right? What we do with our nerves can either really help us or it can get in the way, okay? How do you know if you're feeling nervous? What are some clues? What happens to you? I see any examples? How do you know you're feeling nervous? Butterflies in your stomach. Yes, that's a very common one. Anybody else? What are some other clues of nervousness?
Sometimes, like my throat gets like dry.
Your throat is dry, yes. Anybody else? This might sound silly. Sometimes you feel like, I have to go to the bathroom. Coach, I gotta run to the bathroom quickly before the game starts. And we don't actually have to go, right? So it can show up in many different ways. What about nerves in our mind? What does that feel like? Any thoughts? What are people gonna think of me if I put up my hand? Will I sound silly? Will people laugh at me? Maybe I stumble on my words, right? We can experience nerves physically in our body, those butterflies, okay? Maybe the world's crashing down, okay? So we can feel it physically in our body, but also in our emotions, meaning I feel anxious, I feel worried, I feel nervous, but also in our mind. Our mind will create stories. I wanted to throw this other feeling out. What about excited? Who feels excited sometimes for soccer? Yeah, lots of hands there. What are some clues in your body that you feel excited? How do you know?
Sometimes it's like, well, if you're like first with friends, like, oh yeah, I get to see a friend that I haven't seen before.
Okay, that's the story. Absolutely. She said, oh yes, I get to see a friend, right? This is fun. So we get a story going. What else? What are some other examples? Yeah?
Ready.
You feel ready?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, what else?
When you feel
Happy?
happy,
Okay.
and sometimes you just like, you're so excited that you get dressed quickly. You're like,
You're moving quickly.
no,
Yes.
you just feel confident in yourself.
Confident. Another story. Okay?
You feel like you can't stop smiling.
You can't stop smiling. Exactly. Who feels butterflies in their stomach when they're excited? Okay. Whose heart starts to go a little bit faster? Yep. Okay. Those physical feelings are exactly the same as when we feel nervous. What's different is the stories. I heard a lot more stories coming out with excitement. So I would like to know, and I'd like to put it out to you, what are some of your stories when you're feeling nervous? What are you worried about? When you're feeling worried about a game or nervous or anxious, what are some of your stories? What's your brain telling you?
If I mess up this move, then people are gonna laugh.
Okay, do you mind coming forward and grabbing an orange pylon for me and putting it on this side? What's another story?
Wait, where am I putting it?
Just anywhere around here. What's another story? Thank you. Yep.
That people are gonna think that I'm not good enough.
They're gonna think you're not good enough. Do you mind grabbing an orange pylon? I've got one red one in here. Grab an orange one and stick it on the orange side, please. Yep.
Like maybe, like if I like accidentally like pass to my opponent's team,
Okay.
they'll laugh at me and say, haha.
Okay. So the other team's gonna laugh at you. Can you take an orange, put it on this side?
You're worried that if you try to get a goal and then you miss and then like people like think you're bad.
Okay. Can you take an orange, put it on that side?
Will I win or will I lose?
Will I win or will I lose? Okay, so that's a story. You can take that, put it on this side. Yellow to this side, please. What else? How many of you worry about your coach? Okay, so what I'm gonna do, put that over here. How many of you are worried about your parents? Okay, we've got hands. And don't worry, parents, okay? How many of you worry about the ref? I don't want to get in trouble. Yes. Okay. What are we seeing? Lots of orange. Any ideas what the orange represents? Sorry? Bad. Okay. What else? Fear. Yeah, absolutely. All those things. Doubt. Yeah. Last one? Worry. Okay. Absolutely. Doubt, fear, bad, worry, all of that is on this side. And guess what? I have no control over any of these things. I see one yellow that was put over here. That's the one thing I have control over, which is myself. I can't control parents, I can't control refs, I can't control coaches, I can't control what the other team thinks about me. I can only control me. Does that make sense? So the idea today is to maybe take some skills that you can then take and bring to your game so that you can focus on yourself, because all your stories when it comes to pregame nerves are over here. They're on everything else that you have no control over. Another one over here would be your opponent. How many of you worry about your opponent? Yeah, we look at the other team, wow, they look really good, they look strong, they look big, right? We get all these worries and these stories about things we have no control over. So the idea of mental skills training is to bring your focus back to me. The one thing I can control is me. What are the stories I'm telling myself? What are the stories I create? So part of your process, and this isn't something for you to answer now, is maybe talk with your parents about some of your stories. What do they sound like, right? We want to get that stuff out, because the more it stays up here, the more power it has. So if we can get it out, we take away some of the power and we can start to shift our focus, okay? I'm going to start talking to you about a skill, which this skill is very, very simple. You're all doing it as we speak, okay? It's so simple, and we often think, and we often discount how powerful it is. Any suggestions or ideas on a skill that you're all doing right now? Listening is one, yes, but that's not it, and I'm glad you're listening. Thinking, yes, but that's not it. Breathing, okay? Breathing is powerful. And I'm sure all of you might think back to maybe kindergarten or preschool, things like this. I'll point at my daughter. She was telling me, she came home from school, she said, smell the flowers, breathe in, blow out the candles, right? Breathe out. So we're taught these things at a very young age, but we don't often think about them, and we don't think about using them. And when we do think about using them, we're already in a pressured situation, right? Do the Maradona when you're on the field. Doesn't work. We need to practice this stuff in non-pressured situations. So a very, very important skill set when it comes to breathing is we want to breathe in, smell the flowers, and when we breathe out, we want to breathe out our exhale longer than our inhale. So what that means is if I breathe in for 3 seconds, I want to breathe out for 4 seconds. Does that make sense? Yeah? Can we try it together? So let's all try and breathe in and breathe out. Okay, breathe in and breathe out. Okay, breathe in, breathe out. Okay, you're practicing a mental skill that is extremely powerful. Okay, breath is powerful, not only to regain your physical body, but your mental aspect too. Your mind and body work very strongly together. When we exhale longer than our inhale, there's actually science behind it. I won't get too much into it, but it engages a part of our body that is a natural calming system. So we cannot feel anxious and calm at the same time, right? They don't go hand in hand. So when we practice this, your body will be responding. It may take some time for your mind to catch up, but your body's response is actually slowing down in a calming state, okay? So this stuff works, but we need to practice, okay? Practice in different situations. Practice before bed. Practice on the car ride here. Practice when you're happy, when you're sad, when you're angry, right? We often hear that, take a breath, which usually makes people more angry, okay? But we want to practice breathing, because if we start practicing it when the pressure's all the way over here, it's very hard to feel the benefits. And then we think, oh, this stuff doesn't work. Why bother? Okay? So practice this stuff before you're in a pressured situation. Does that make sense? Yeah? Any questions on breathing? No? Good? Okay. The other thing I would like to talk to you about is some of your pre-game rituals and routines. Do any of you guys have routines before a game? Can I ask what yours is? What you do?
Well, I stretch.
Stretch, yeah. Anything else?
Sometimes I eat something to have energy.
Eat something to have energy? Awesome. Yes? You sorry? Pass with your team, yeah. Any other rituals, routines? We warm up with our team. Yeah, warming up with your team, so that passing. Sorry, I kind of took your answer. Anything else? What are some of your pregame routines?
Like sometimes, like we talk about it's fine if you lose, but still try your best.
Okay, it's fun if we lose. So how you talk to yourself a bit before the game, you get yourself ready. Yes, Graham?
Music.
Music. What kind of music? Is it
Calming music.
calming music? Often we think about getting music that pumps us up, right? But that can put our body in a stress response. So try it out, see how it feels for you. It might work for you. It's not a wrong thing to do, but just notice how it feels. Some players like to have a calming sense of music, and it helps them feel more relaxed, which seems kind of weird when you're getting into a situation, right, into a high game. But when we can relax our body, we can relax our mind, and we feel more equipped. We feel more confident. Sometimes people do like that though. They listen to the pump up music. That's not wrong. Just pay attention to what works for you. So be a bit of a scientist for yourself and do your research. See how it feels. Okay. Any other rituals?
I usually give like a little pep talk before he goes into your game.
Pep talk? Love it. Okay. So those messages, we can start to ground and frame ourselves.
Tie my right shoe before my left.
Tie your right shoe before your left. Absolutely. It's a signal. Yes?
I have to practice my skills and then take a shower.
Practice your skills, take a shower. Okay. Does the shower relax you, get you ready? Yeah? Okay. All of our rituals and routines help our body and mind get ready. So try some stuff out for you. It's not a right or wrong or good or bad. You just figure out kind of what works for you. So if I tie my left shoe first, as Coach Martino says he does his right first, that doesn't mean I've done something wrong. I get to explore what works for me. So all of you have your one-up jerseys on. You have shin pads, socks, shoes. Is that part of your routine? Does that get your mind ready and saying, hey, it's time. I need to get ready for soccer? Yeah. What about water bottles? Who fills your water bottle? You or your parents? Parents? Okay. That might be something that becomes part of your routine. Maybe it's your responsibility, right? But it can be things that cue you that it's time to get ready. What about your mental? I heard pep talk, right? Some talks to ourselves. Anything else? Does anybody breathe? No? Yeah? Well, we're all breathing, but yes? The car ride here, right? So we can do things in the car ride here. How many of you have electronic devices? Phones, iPads, video games, TV, right? How many of you do that right before a game, before it's time to leave? Be honest, nobody's in trouble. Even in the car right here, do we look? Whether social media, things like that? Yeah? Play a game, maybe it's Roblox, Fortnite. Okay? My point is when we engage in electronic devices of any sort, it activates your brain in such a way that it will bring feelings of anxiety up in you, whether you're aware or not. Your brain starts to respond in a particular way that actually brings out a pattern of waves in our brain that looks like, feels like anxiety. And going back to stories, this alarm goes off in my brain. What am I worried about? The game is coming. What about parents? What about coaches? What about the opponent? Our brain goes into storytelling. So when our brain goes into storytelling, it typically goes to all these things that we can't control. So just by eliminating your exposure to electronic devices, parents, you're welcome, what will happen is it will help calm your body and mind before the game. It doesn't serve you to be on these things right before a game. We actually feel more fatigued being on these things. So when you're on an electronic device and your parent says, "Can you get off?" How many of you argue or don't like it? I think all of us. This is not a unique issue. This is not about you specifically. This happens to everybody. It will activate everybody's brain in the same way. But the problem is we get sucked into it and we stay longer on it. So think about your pregame routines. If I can encourage you to stay away from electronic devices, I will do so. Okay? All these things will bring out anxiety. And again, your brain goes into the story. And those stories are often based on everything beyond our control. So the one thing I can control is me. So what pregame routine will actually help me? I focus on breathing, right? We do all those physical things that were also mentioned, maybe my pep talk, but I'm also going to give you another suggestion, okay? So visualization and imagery. How many of you have heard about visualization and imagery? Yeah? Do any of you use visualization and imagery? Yeah? Good. So I heard Coach Martino yesterday in the shooting from a distance station, and he talked about taking the dinosaur steps, right? I heard him take 3 dinosaur steps. I heard him tell you, kick your bum. Then I heard him laces down, lock the ankle, follow through, land on the shooting foot, right? So I heard him break that skill down. How many of you found it helpful to see that happen? Absolutely. We all can probably make sense of it, but to see it helps us learn it. It helps us understand. We might actually rehearse it a little bit as we're watching 3 dinosaur steps, like how does this work? I need to draw my foot back. How does this work, right? We might break it down like that and experience it. As we think about it, the interesting part is your body is responding as well. So you are creating muscle memory simply by visualizing something. Your body will respond in such a way. If you're thinking, okay, 3 dinosaur steps, what's that look like? Kick my bum, lock the ankle, follow through, laces down, land on kicking foot. As you're visualizing this, picturing it happening, your body is actually responding, whether we're consciously aware or not. So if we're visualizing ourselves saying, don't miss the penalty shot, what happens is your brain goes, miss the penalty shot, don't. Your brain computes it in a different sequence. So we actually are planting a seed to miss. So we want to use language that says, we want to drop the don't. So we want to visualize and picture, if I'm taking this penalty shot, what does that look like? How do I see the ball hitting the back of the net? My foot contacting the ball. So we want to picture this in a different way, not don't do this, don't do this, don't do this, right? That creates a whole different story in our mind. So we want to use our thinking for us. So as you're all here right now, I want you to think about a moment, a memory in your game. This could be in practice, it could be a game situation. Doesn't matter your position, goalie, defense, mid, striker, whichever. I want you to think about a memory of something that you felt you did really well. Okay, I want you to really picture it. Picture yourself, breaking it down. Picture your stride, picture your pace, picture the ball movement. So take a moment and really picture it. Okay? Does everybody have a memory? Yeah? If you don't, that's okay. This is something you can do when you get home. You might have a couple memories, that's fine. And after you think of this memory, I want you to think about a future memory. Sounds kind of funny, hey? Picture something in future that you want to see yourself do. Picture what it feels like. Picture the calmness in your body. Picture how your mind is responding. Maybe it's really focused and engaged. Okay? Picture what that feels like. And as you picture these 2 scenes, one in the past, which means you've done it, you're capable, you can do it, and one in the future, something goal-oriented. And what I want you to do, this is not a grammar lesson, is to think of 2 verbs. With 2 verbs, those are action words, if we don't remember. And this is going to be your mantra. 2 words. And again, you don't have to figure this out right now. But what this might do is just plant some seeds for later. So talk to your parents about it as well. What are 2 action words? So as an example, I might think hustle. I might think attack, protect, defend, right? These are action words. So when I think of these 2 words, no matter what's happening outside of me, this is what I come back to. So if I'm up a goal, if my words are hustle and attack, I'm going to hustle and attack. If I'm down a goal, what do you think I'm going to do? Hustle and attack. Okay? If I kick the ball out of bounds, what am I going to do? Okay, if I made a mistake, what am I going to do? And guess what? That mistake is not a mistake, it's a growth opportunity, right? All these things are successes. Because at the end of the day, with success, what that means is you've tried. Success doesn't mean you've perfectly executed something and it's resulted in that goal, or perhaps you saved the goal. Success is about the effort. And I really want all of us to really think about that word success, because success is a tricky word. We often base it on these outcomes that are external to us. And parents, think about that as well. How do you define success? How do you define success for your kids in sport? So success might be a sense of confidence, right? A sense of esteem, how we feel about ourselves. Friendship, fun. We can be competitive amongst all these things, right? So really think about success. And when you have your mantra established, that's part of your pregame routine. So breath, as we mentioned about, visualization, okay? That internal story, the routines that we're doing, all of these things become part of our mental skill set. This becomes part of our training. Does that make sense? And practice your mantra. Now these things aren't set in stone, right? Try it out. Coach Graham said he listens to relaxing music, calming music. Try it out, see how it feels. See what works for you. There is no right or wrong. Nerves, worries, anxiety, all of these things are typical. We all experience it. But what happens is it can get in the way. Did any of you guys watch the Gold Cup? That Canada-US game? With the torrential downpour? Yeah? A couple of you. So the field conditions were not good, right? There's tons of water. So water affected the play. The rain affected the play. Is the ball going to get caught up? Is the ball going to skip? Am I going to lose my footing? Can I pivot? Right? All these things are happening, and that's what anxiety is like. Anxiety and nerves are like that storm, right? It's the storm coming down. So when we practice these mental skill sets, what these mental skill sets do is it calms the storm, right? It's not that the storm doesn't ever come, but we have tools that we can deal with the storm when it comes. And that's success. It's not about preventing the storm, but it's about dealing with the storm. Does that make sense? Okay. So I think we're probably getting close to time here, so I'll wrap it up there. But if you have questions, I'm here. I'll be here all afternoon as well, and like I said, I'll be here Monday as well. So I appreciate all of your time and listening. I appreciate your participation, and thank you for having me as well.